We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
You are listening to episode number 2075. Today, Jill and I are talking about, well, it's Tuesday. All week, we are debunking or dispelling myths. Today, myth. Improving real estate is the best way to create equity. I have to tell you, Jill, I had to pick my favorite 5. There's a lot of, and this is one of my favorites. There are a lot of myths in real estate.
Yeah.
We could do another entire week next week on the myths that I said, how I can't fit them in.
True. We're kind of thinking about, and you were putting together, you came up with the whole theme for the week, and I remember you popping in going, whatever room I was in, I was doing like, hey, can you give me a couple, without thinking about it too hard, I just kind of brain dump. Oh, I got some.
This whole week is about myths, but it could be easily called the top 5 questions we get at Land Academy.
True. Sometimes.
Each day on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum, and we take a deep dive into land-related topics by popular request.
Yep.
This is long, but it's worth it, Jill.
Okay, good. So, it's a little conversation.
Yeah.
So Kimberly wrote something, she got an answer back, and she wrote an answer back, and then there's a couple. This is long. Okay.
It's a story, and it ends beautifully.
Okay, I'm going to read it verbatim, and I'm just going to go right through it. Okay, Kimberly wrote, I have a property that just won't sell. Should I reduce the price? I have it listed for $15,000. Chris wrote, hi there. You should be determining the market price based on like-kind comps in immediate area, not assessed values. Those are used by the county for tax purposes. Generally speaking, your selling price should be at or below market price to move the property. As for neighbor letter pricing, are you planning to list with an agent or sell yourself? What is it going to cost to market and sell it? Discount your price by what those costs would be and send the neighbors a letter with your neighborly price and a deadline to take action before you list it on the market. Chris. Kimberly wrote back, well, I got it for $1,500 and there's a lot, 2 properties down for sale at $14,000 right now. Same acreage, same everything. I'm sending neighbor letters as soon as I get the deed back in my hands. I was going to sell it myself since it's such a low-cost property. Rebecca wrote, hi, Kimberly. How long has the property been for sale on the market? Has the asking price on the listing gone down over time? How many views and saves on Zillow? Actual recently sold prices of similar property are a more accurate reflection of market value than asking prices. Kimberly, it's been on the market for a long time now. I was thinking of listing it for $7,000, which would quadruple my investment.
Okay. Point number 1, and I'm going to pat Jill and I on the back in a very rare occurrence. These 2 people are helping Kimberly, Chris and Rebecca, and they are telling her to look at the data. Mm-hmm. That makes me all warm and fuzzy inside.
True.
All these decisions that we make, if you go dig down into the data about what's going on in the market, what's happening with the property, and maybe with you personally, you're going to find the answer to everything.
Yeah.
Why am I not making as much money? If you dig down into the data, you'll find out, why isn't my property selling? Because we've all been in this situation. All of us, Jill and I, have multiple properties right now that are not selling. And if we dig back down into the data, we know exactly why. In our case, we probably don't care. And that's not good.
It's true.
So philosophically, and this is my final point before Jill jumps in, at $7,000 sale with a comparison value 2 properties over of $15,000, you won. You tripled your money at $7,000. So my question to you is, Kimberly, why didn't you list it for that in the first place? And we would never be having this conversation. The answer is because you wanted to maximize price. You wanted retail. We're not in the business of selling properties for retail value, except in very rare circumstances. So I say this to everyone, and this gets overlooked that we don't talk about it enough. We are in the real estate business to provide properties on the sell side. We're selling properties below the break point in every single market so we can move in and out of these properties really quickly. Holding a property for a year and getting retail value takes longer, and probably in the end, you make less money than burning and churning and selling a ton of property quickly.
You know, it's funny. She's been on the market for a long time. You know what? A long time to me is 30 days. So I wonder what a long time is to her. We really don't know. So I have a couple points to make here. Number one, she bought it for $1,500. There's one listed right now for sale for $14,000. Yay. Why you would go in and do yours at $15,000, I have no idea. I wouldn't do that. I do love I think it was Chris said, hey, do a neighbor letter. I love that too. I would start with a neighbor letter, and you know what? I would refer to the one for $14,000 and say mine's 10. And if you're not into it, I'm going to list it for 12 or 13, something like that. I wouldn't go too low, because when you have a property on the market, half the price of the property couple lots down, it tells everybody there's something wrong with yours. That's a little thing. I've had that happen. I've had to go in and raise the price up because I've tested this and done that. Then I go back and raise it, and everybody is like, oh, now it's in line, and everybody sees it is a great property just like this one. I'm just a little bit lower, so then mine moves. That really is effective. I'm trying to say what else. Like Jack said, we're not trying to reset the market, but you do need to do what makes sense in the area. I'm assuming you ran all your red, yellow, green tests, so you wouldn't have sent out mail there anyway. You did everything right. We just need some more. And I hope you have 3 other properties coming through right now. And then you won't be so hyper-focused on this one too. Just set it and keep an eye on it. Watch your phone, answer questions, see what they're asking, update your listing if possible, make sure the photos are great, all the stuff that we show you to do in Land Academy. And if you did your test right and you mailed it in a good area, then it will move.
Every time Jill and I do a live event, I ask this question: who here doesn't like off-market real estate deals? And no one answers their hand. Not a single person. That's because off-market real estate deals are amazing. They're amazing for the seller and they're amazing for the buyer. When you send a neighbor letter out, you are creating on the sell side an off-market real estate deal, and you're going to get a great response. A neighbor letter, if you don't know, is drawing a figurative circle around your property that you have for sale a mile out. And everybody that owns real estate within that mile or 10 miles, if it's really rural or whatever number you think is appropriate, and sending them a letter saying, hey, I know you own this property here. Congratulations. I just bought a property and I'm going to sell it. And I would like to offer this to you as an off-market real estate deal before I send it out to the planet. It's easier for me to sell it to you. It's faster and cheaper, and I don't have to work on it. And you're going to get a better price than if I post it. Everybody wins. Mm-hmm. There's no
put a deadline in there. I would be real clear, like, look, I'm going to sell it right now for you for 10. I'll sell it for 10 fast. Or I'm going to list it. If you don't reply by the end of the month, give them 30 days or something like that. I am going to list it for 12. Just FYI. There you go. And move on.
Today's topic, myth. Improving real estate is the best way to create equity. No, it's not. Listen, we're all here. You're listening to this because you want to get wealthy, or you want to increase your already wealthy situation, or you want to get into real estate, and buying and selling land is something that you've always maybe thought about in the back of your head. Or maybe you're so tired of driving down the freeway and wondering who the hell owns all this land all over the place and why isn't anybody doing with it? Some version of that. We call that in our house equity. What's your net worth? How much equity do you have? And creating equity is why we're all here. You can go to your W-2 job and get a paycheck, and you might be $5,000 or $6,000 more wealthy, or have that much more equity that month before you start paying your bills. That's creating equity. In real estate, there's 2 ways to do that. Only 2 ways. Number 1, you improve the property. You might be a developer and put up a regional mall. You might put up a skyscraper in Midtown Manhattan, or you might put a shed on a piece of vacant land in the middle of Montana. You are creating or attempting to create equity. The value of the land.
By improving it.
The value of this skyscraper, when your actual cost of building the skyscraper and buying the land is less than what you would go to sell it for. That's creating equity through improvement. HGTV is packed full of improvement programs. Buy a piece of crap house for $150,000, put $80,000 into it, which ends up being $220, sell it for $300. You've created $80,000 of equity. Fantastic. The world does it every single day. Right now, there's a bunch of schmoes with a hammer in their hand trying to do this. I don't like that, and neither does Jill. We do it. Once in a while, Jill and I do it, and we do it very profitably. It's not my favorite way, and it's not hers. The second way to create equity is to purchase a piece of property, any type of property, for less than it's worth right now. This is the
That
dumbest
is
show ever.
The easiest.
How do you do? Of course it's so obvious. It's silly. Yes, it is. It's so obvious. It's silly.
Isn't that funny? It's like, I bought this car. This car is worth, it's Barrett Jackson time, which is coming up in Arizona, right? Coming up in January and February. Barrett Jackson, all right. We all know this car is worth 80 grand and you get it for 50. Congratulations. There's your equity. That's what we're talking about. It's the same thing. And what's so funny is we think of it and see it so clearly in everything else. But for some reason, I have a hard, people look at us sideways like, well, how do you do that in land? Do it all the time.
Here's one of my peeves in life. When people act and don't think before they act, it's so automatic for people to buy a house and immediately think it needs a new kitchen and a new bathroom. Does it? Or how about you just get it so cheap that it just doesn't matter, then you're going to resell it with the existing kitchen and the existing bathroom. Oh, Jack, but you're leaving so much money on the table. Am I?
Mm-hmm.
Am I leaving money on the table? And the time that it would take for me to renovate this house, I could have done 3 real wholesale transactions. And I don't mean wholesale like this industry likes to say, where you put an offer in, shop it around, and mark it up 10 grand. I mean, buying a piece of crap house so cheap that you can sell the exact same piece of crap house without ever going into it and seeing it $40,000 or $50,000 more.
So I want to say that can work. I mean, we all know that that's documented. We all know when you first get into real estate, you start learning and talking to people and you read stuff and you understand that, most of the time putting in a pool, you're not getting the 25 or 40 grand, probably 40 or 50 nowadays to put in a pool. You're not going to typically see that as an immediate exact cost bump on the sale price. But there are some things, kitchen, bathrooms, depersonalizing things, there's all kinds of paint, carpet. There's some things.
Where is this going?
Well, I'm just saying, I want to
How to
tell
renovate
you.
a house?
Well, hold on a moment. I want to tell you that this can work. So that stuff works. But what happens is, like Jack just said, you need to be, if you're set up for it and you already have a construction company and that's what you've been doing your whole life, whole different ballgame. But for people coming into our world, think that, ooh, I'm going to now do this and I'm going to learn that stuff too. I always say, hold on a moment. Because now you've just changed your job description, you've changed your whole business model, and you might not be as profitable as you could be because you don't have all that stuff in place. That's where I'm going. So it can work, but it's not the best use for most of us.
What Jill and I are great at, lifelong career at buying property for less than its actual current as is, where is value. If it's worth 100 grand, we like to buy it for 20 or 30 or $40,000 ish. Right. And so the way that we do that, we've refined the process to doing that. Each time it gets refined, it gets a little bit more efficient. So now we're sending out tens of thousands of offers. Like, this is the Land Academy way, instead of picking up a hammer. And then Jill is using her skills on the phone to create an off-market real estate deal where there wasn't one moments before.
Right.
Isn't that easier than doing a new kitchen?
Well, here's the point too. Time. What I can spend time on, you and I in a week could queue up 3 of these deals. It's a lot of mail. It's a lot of time on the phone. I don't care. But think about this. Inside of a week, you just gave buy for 40. It's worth 100. So we sell for 80, right? So we got 3 deals I queued up inside of a week. That's 120 grand. I could not renovate any house inside of 1 week and create $120,000 worth of profit just by renovations.
Here's another part of that peeve. Every time you pick up a hammer or call a contractor or do any type of improvement, I don't care if you're a developer, building a skyscraper that we talked about in New York, there's profit margin in every step of the way. There's real estate agents involved. There's title companies. And some of that is unavoidable, specifically a title company.
Profit
or the
to
escrow
other
company.
people is what you're saying?
If you go do a new kitchen, even if you do it by yourself, you're going to go buy the material. You're going to buy the tools. You're going to pay sales tax on all that stuff. So now the government's taking a little bit of profit already. So there's profit and profit and profit. When you go buy a piece of land, there's nothing. No one is taking any profit margin out of that thing at all, with the exception of the title agent. And if you do enough deals with the title company, you can hammer them and get that cost down. It's just a few $100s anyway, usually. Mm-hmm. The more you develop, the more you improve, the more people that have fingers in that pie.
I agree.
We are in this business to do one single thing, and I would really encourage you to seriously think about this. You only have to be good at one thing for the rest of your life, and that is sourcing undervalued pieces of real estate. and then selling them on the other side. Or your partner does.
There you go.
Join us tomorrow, Wednesday, where we talk about our next myth. It takes a ton of money to invest in real estate. Nope. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
And inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.